I have been using motorized sliders for many years. One of my go-to sliders was made by Konova. Now this is the P1. Originally the one I had a cable and a control box, but the new one now is wireless. If you do have one of the earlier P1s that was cable connected, you can upgrade that by changing the motor module. I will be making a separate video for the conversion from cable to wireless. The Konova P1 comes in different sizes, 60, 80, 100 and 120 centimeters in length. What we're looking at today is their new P1 S3 wireless motorized carbon slider. I will leave a link in the description below for this slider. Everything you need to assemble the slider can be found inside the handy carrying case. There is a total of 2 quick guides. There is not a lot in these guides, it's so simple and easy to put together, but the first guide is for the carbon slider itself. The second guide is for the S3 wireless motorized motor, how it's assembled and fitted onto the P1 slider. It is quite basic, picture format and very easy to follow. The slider tubes are made from carbon fibre. The slider table is made from lightweight alloy. As with the table, the fold-away legs on either end again is made from lightweight alloy. As with a lot of sliders today, there is the ability to either have parallax or panoramic shots from the camera when the slider is in operation. As you would expect, the slidability of the platform is superb. A spirit level is located on the platform if required. Fold-away legs can be found on either end of the slider. On the end of each of the legs is a soft rubber ball which is totally adjustable. Each foot will adjust up to 1 inch, that's approximately 2.5 centimeters. There is a screw locking mechanism on each foot when the adjustment has been made to stop any movement. To alter or lock the belt into position, thumb screws are used on either end. On either end and in the centre you will find some 3/8 or 1/4 holes. These are ideal to connect any of your tripods to. It was very pleasing to see the use of cotton reel bearings. These can be found on the parallax rod, also on each of the slider tubes. The slider platform can be locked into position if required. You would normally do this during transportation or fixing cameras to the slider. The camera mount section has got both 3/8 or 1/4 fixing ability. Rubber buffers can be found on both ends of the slider tubing. The parallax adjusters can be found on either side of the slider. Both adjusters must be loosened first before making any of your adjustments. It is very important to ensure that there is free movement of the platform before the motor is fitted. Inside the small case you will find the motor module, shutter release cable, USB lead, set pins, Allen keys and the belt. The KMS S3 motor module is made up of a mixture of high impact ABS plastic and alloy. All the electronics are in the main plastic box section. This houses the shutter release port, the power input, the LED indicator and power button. The battery mount is for Sony NP750s or 970s. They do not provide you with these, you will need to provide your own. In the alloy section can be found the bearing and belt pulleys. The mounting holes are on the top to connect to the main slider unit. Fitting the motor unit to the main slider platform is extremely easy. Personally, I found putting the small set pins into the motor module first, then offer it up to the main slider platform. The holes on the platform and also on the motor module will line up. Using the Allen keys provided, simply rotate in a clockwise direction until tight each of the set pins. The set pins do need to be tight, do not over tighten them. Remember, these are screwed into alloy. That concludes the fitment of the motor module. Next is our belt. It was nice to see that they give you double the amount of belt that you require. This is always handy if you make a mistake or in later times you need to replace the belt due to breakages. The belt itself has got teeth on one side of the belt and flat and smooth on the other. When fitting the belt I did find that it was easier to have the slider upside down. Loosen the belt clamp sufficiently to enable the belt to be fed through the clamp. The teeth of the belt in this case should be pointing upwards. You do have plenty of belt, so push a little bit extra through the clamp before tightening. When fitting the belt, ensure that it stays flat, it gets no twists, and manipulate it round each of the bearings and pulley. You will find that the belt will fit round the bearings and pulley with ease. As with the other end, you will need to fit the belt into the clamp. Before fitting into the clamp, cut approximately 2 inches or 5 centimeters over the length of the clamp. This will give you the opportunity to feed it through the clamp with ease and also pull the belt to give you tension. On each of the belt clamps there is a location groove. Just ensure that the belt is in this groove before tightening up each of the clamps. Before you put that final turn on the clamps, ensure that the belt tension is sufficient that you can flick the belt and it's not loose. Do not overstretch the belt, it doesn't need to be like a guitar string. That concludes the fitment of the belt. You should be able to move the centre platform slowly backwards and forwards. If you do try to move the centre platform too quick, you will find there will be a resistance. This will give you a jerky feeling. Don't worry, that is how it should be. This motor unit will fit either the P1 or K sliders. Now they did give you an extra piece. This is mainly for the K sliders. We don't need it for our one here. The camera mount on the top of the platform has got a 1/4-20 pin. They also give you a 3/8 converter. This is extremely handy as you don't have to worry about what the connector is that you've got and what the slider will take. Although the camera will connect directly onto the platform, I found that having a ball joint on the top of the platform was much better, as it gave me much more flexibility in adjusting the camera to the angles that I want. You are not provided with a ball joint, you will need to provide your own. These are easily found on both Amazon and eBay. One other thing I did add was my quick release plate on the top of the ball joint. This was simply to standardise it, as all my equipment has these. Before you order your camera, let them know what shutter release cable you need for your camera. If you don't let them know, they will send you the RCO2. I did drop a note to them saying I had the 70D and they sent me the appropriate lead for that. Personally, it's very rare that I do any time lapse, but it's nice to know that I do have a lead if I ever change my mind. There are a couple of methods that you can use to provide power. One is the Sony NP750 or 970 batteries, or a mains adapter rated at 5V at 2A. They do provide you with a short USB lead. No battery or mains adapter is provided, you will need to buy your own. Personally, I like to use the Sony batteries, it's more convenient and you don't have any wires hanging around. One thing to remember, you can move the platform slowly with the power off. With the power switched on, you are unable then to move the platform. If you do need to move the platform for any reason, make sure that you do it first before switching on the power switch. The QR code for both Android and iOS can be found in the manual. To control the slider, you will need to download this onto your mobile device. This is an APK installation file that is used. Simply follow the download instructions on the screen and install it. All the commands that are sent from your mobile device to the slider uses Bluetooth. With the motor module switched on, it will flash green on its LED. Press the Bluetooth searching on the app and you will see KMS slider appear. Select that. The motor module LED will turn red when paired and the app will go into the main screen. In a B set, we simply set the start and ending point and speed that you require. The video icon will give you the duration, that can be hours, minutes or seconds, loop mode, ramp, you can go from A to B or B to A and start and stop. The menu functions are A/B set, video, time lapse, 360 mode, which we don't have because we don't have the module, and manual mode. In time lapse you can set exposure, duration, interval, frames per second and delay. There is a 360 module, we do not have that, so we're unable to use any of the 360 degree facilities in the app. And the final icon is manual. As the name suggests, you can use manual mode here. Remember, we don't have the 360 module, so we can only use on the left control for the slider. Well, I think we've covered all the basics here, so we'll try and do a setup. Switch on your motor module. The LED will blink green while it's trying to register with the mobile device. You can change your language or your sizes, which could be inches or millimeters. Press on the Bluetooth searching. You will see KMS slider appear on the screen. Select that and that will take you directly into the menu mode. Using the left or right arrows, select your starting point. Once you have selected that, then you click on the OK button in the center. Try and avoid the temptation of grabbing the platform and moving it by hand. Just simply use the left and right arrows. Once the OK button has been pressed for the first time, the set A point will turn orange, indicating that that's set. Move the slider to the right and press the OK button when you're happy. Again, set B will indicate orange. In the bottom menu, select video. In this section you can change the duration. Simply tap on either hours, minutes or seconds and change and scroll up to the desired amount of time that you require the action to take place. You can select loop or ramp. Ramp will slowly bring the camera into operation, or loop will just continually go backwards and forwards, either A to B or B to A. When you're happy with all your settings, to start everything off, press the play button. This will also give you the opportunity to pause if required. That's it. It is as simple as that. The app is quite easy and user friendly. It enables me to continually loop. Having the ramp is quite good, so I haven't got that stop fast and go quick syndrome that you get on some videos. And having the loop there, it'll just continually sit there all day, working backwards and forwards until you stop it. If you're not happy with the settings, you can change them easily by pressing the clear button and going through all the same procedure again. One thing to remember in manual mode, if you've set A and B, manual mode will only take you backwards and forwards to those set positions. So if you want to go further, you'll have to press the clear button and restart all over again, setting point A and point B. Then manual mode will give you that full sweep that you've set. As you can see here, I've set A and B just to go a short distance, so keeping and pressing to the left it will stop at the point A, and pressing and holding to the right it will stop at point B. What I would suggest is simply familiarise yourself with the app. There's not a lot to learn. It is quite simple, easy, basic and quite logical the way they've done things. Well, that concludes the assembly and working out how the app works. Now it's time to put it through its paces. Now I know a lot of people just use these sliders flat, but I was curious to know how much of an angle I could actually get this to operate and not cause any issues. The weight of the camera, the ball joint and quick release plate came to £3, which is about 1.4 kilogram, and at this angle it coped with it quite well. The horizontal payload for this is approximately £17, which is about 8 kilogram. The diagonal payload is about £6.6 or 3 kilogram. And finally, the vertical payload should be £2.2 or 1 kilogram. So we're just a little over doing what we're doing now at the moment, and it did seem to cope with it quite well. I think the specifications that they gave on the website was a little bit on the cautious side, so you can push it a bit. With this one I had no issues or problems at all. There is facility on the bottom with the 1/4 or 3/8 holes to enable you to fit some quick release plates that you can use and put this onto a tripod. Remember, depending upon the type of camera and the weight of the camera, you will get a seesaw effect if you just use the tripod in the center, as you can see here. The tripod that I'm using here at the moment is not an expensive one, and there is a little bit of movement on there, but the better way is to use tripods, one on either side. This would be the same as if you put it onto a bench, table or on the ground. One very important issue is how much noise does this slider make when in use. Using a sound level meter to take the readings with no motors or anything running except the fans on the computer, I was getting just over 47 dB. This was a simple test on its maximum speed with the ball joint and quick release plate fitted. To add a bit more load, I've added the camera now, so the total extra weight should be £3 or 1.4 kilogram. I must admit, I have had other sliders in the past and none of them, and I mean none of them, have been as quiet as this one. Just for test purposes, I thought I'd pop out into the garden, a couple of tripods, stick the slider on the top and let it do its thing. I set the slider up so it would do a panoramic view with the camera. There was a little bit of wind out there that day when I did the filming, so I apologise for any of the wind noises. This time I set the camera up to do a parallax style shot. Again, we got wind in the back and noisy crows in the background. Apologies for that. That went off with no issues or problems. Nice steady shots. Just as a point of interest, I decided to take a walk down to the bottom of the garden. Now this is approximately 70 feet away from the camera and slider, and I can still operate using the mobile device to start and stop the camera. Okay, I've just stopped the camera at this point and now starting it up again. It's quite interesting to see the distance that you can get with Bluetooth. It'll be the same as any other Bluetooth device range-wise. As long as there's nothing in between the mobile device and the slider, you will get some quite good distances. Using the tripods in this manner makes life a lot easier, especially with this diagonal shot. With regards to motor noises from the motor on the slider, obviously you'll not hear them here. There's that much noise, wind, birds and car noises, you'll not hear it. But inside the studio it is extremely good, as you've seen with the audio tests that we did earlier on. As regards sliders, I must say I am very impressed with this particular slider. If you are in the market for a slider that is wireless, this is well worth considering. I hope you found this information of use to you. Thank you for watching.